the things which we discussed, I'll just generally, I will recap those things. The first thing we discussed, we started with Rajadharma. The first topic which we discussed was what is the Rajadharma in how public administration, where we can find the public administration topic in Ramayana. Then what is the meaning of Rajadharma? What type of topics are dealt in Kachit Sarga of Ramayana? Then what is the meaning of Artha? What is the meaning of Arthashastra? Who composed Arthashastra and what, how many, the general details of Arthashastra and history of Arthashastra we saw. Then we saw what this Kautilya's Arthashastra, the contents of Kautilya's Arthashastra, the division of the text of Arthashastra. Then we narrowed down the topic into the 7 elements of the state. In those 7 elements of the state, we saw the first element, that is Swami or Raja or King. Okay. Now we will move into the second element, that is called as either Amatya or Mantri. So why is it called as Amatya? Now this word we have, it is very famous word because we have heard the word Amatya Rakshas. When we saw that serial, we in our childhood we had a serial called Chanakya. So in that serial we have heard this word called Amatya Rakshas. So Amatya, what does this word Amatya means? Amatya means minister, but there is an etymology for each word in Sanskrit. So for this word, the etymology is Ama. Ama means Saha, means together. Vidyate iti Amatya. That means one who is in company with, who is together, that person is called Amatya. The person who is always together, that person is called Amatya. So the person who is always together with the king, that person will be named as Amatya. So in Yukti Kalpataru, there is text called Yukti Kalpataru, which gives the qualities of Amatya. Shantaha, Vinitaha, Kushalaha, Satkulinaha, Shubhanvitaha, Shastrartha Tattvagaha, Amatyaha Bhaved Bhumi Bhujamiha. So every king must have a Amatya who is calm, who is well trained, and who is creative, who is from a good background, noble family, who has the knowledge of many disciplines, who knows the truth of all the disciplines, the final output of all the disciplines. Such person should be as Amatya for a king. That's what a text called Yukti Kalpataru says. There is a huge list of 25 qualities are explained in Kautilya's Arthashastra. How should be a Mantri or Amatya? There are 25 qualities explained. Now, the Amatya, there is another word which is used as a synonym for the word Amatya or for minister, that is Mantri. The word Mantri, the Mantri is if we see the position wise, the Mantri's position is higher compared to Amatya. When we see Kautilya's Arthashastra, we can, when we analyze it, we find that Mantri's position is higher than the position of Amatya. So what does the Mantri means? The etymology of Mantri is, the word mantra means Gupta Bhashanam, the secret. Secret discussion is called mantra. Okay, the secret rendering, secret discussion is called mantra. That exists in the person who keeps or manages the secrets, that person is called Mantri. So that is how the word Mantri is derived. Okay, because see, when the Mantri is the person who comes and advises the king, and the king actually takes the suggestions or advices of the Mantri in a meeting, and then he decides to go for application of whatever is decided. But those things are kept secret by the Mantri unless the decision is finally taken by the king. So final decision will always be taken by the king. But these people come together, discuss, and give the suggestions to the king. Okay. So in Amarakosha, there is a text called Amarakosha, which is a text of synonyms of the words, which says Mantri Dhi Sachivaha Amatyonye Karma Sachivas Tataha. The Mantri is like Dhi Sachiva. The intellectual minister is Mantri, and Amatya is like minister for other tasks. Okay, so that's how differentiation is shown by Amarakosha. Amarakosha says the Mantri is someone who is an intellectual minister, but Amatya is someone who is appointed for taking the tasks or taking different cabinets. Okay, so that is the difference between Amatya and Mantri. So these are some important, most important function of the Mantri is to advise the king on various matters of public administration. So now there is a discussion happening. In Kautilya's Arthashastra, Kautilya presents the views of various scholars, various previous acharyas. So while presenting that, he says, one acharya says that there should be one Mantri for the king. But then that is contradicted by, that is refuted by another scholar, another acharya. He says, no, if there is only one Mantri to a king, it will be difficult to control. Whatever that Mantri says, the king should follow that. Because only one suggestion will be coming from that Mantri. Then the king has to follow that. Then so another acharya says, so it is not a good decision to go with one Mantri. So a king must have two Mantris. So another scholar, Acharya, the later Acharya, he contradicts this scholar, saying that even with the two Mantris, there is a problem. One month, in some situations, one Mantri may not agree with another Mantri, so those two will quarrel and the king will end up with no decisions to make. So then some people say, so then Kautilya says, 3 or 4 Mantri must be appointed in this situation. Whenever a king needs to have a secret council, the king must appoint 3 or 4 Mantris. But there is another type of Mantri Parishad where Amatyas are placed. So there he can have, depending upon the size and the power of the state, the king can have 12, 16, 20, and maybe even more sometimes, depending upon the size and power of the state. For example, now our state is so big, India is so big, Bharata is so big. So there are many cabinet ministers, many chief ministers, and maybe depending upon the places, some presidents are also appointed. So this is how the Mantri, this is called Mantri Parishad. Sometimes, but Mantri Parishad is not only that. Mantri Parishad is also like an advisory board. So sometimes, depending upon the size of the state, advisory board needs to be constructed, where again 12, 16 or 20 members can be appointed. Okay. In case of emergencies, the king summons both Mantri and Mantri Parishad and goes by the majority view of the group. So whenever there is an emergency, he not only visits the team of Mantri, that is 3 or 4, but also he goes to the Mantri Parishad. And if there is also the explanation, in case if Mantri is not available at that time, then king must send his Duta to send the message of the king to the Mantri and get his advice. So that is also explained. So in present day also, when somebody is not available in the meeting, to get his consent, we actually send the email and get the consent. Similarly, during the time of Kautilya, the letter was sent or the people were sent to get the consent of the Mantri or get the suggestion of the Mantri. This is what Amatya. Now, there is some beautiful verse in Kautilya's Arthashastra.
Excuse me. I request Dr. Ashutosh to please put his mic on mute. I request Dr. Ashutosh to please put his mic on mute. Thank you. So please carry.
Okay. So now we have discussed Amatya. Now there can be a question: why do we need this ministers, or why do we need this Amatyas? Can king alone cannot rule the whole state? So king is so powerful, he can rule it. He can appoint the people at different places. But what is the need of mantri? Because king can take his decision by his own. As it's a monarchy, the king can take his decision by his own. Then what is the need of discussion with the people? So that's why Chanakya gives a beautiful shloka which says, Sahaya sadhyam rajatvam chakramekam na vartate kurvita sachivas tasmat teshancha shrunuyan matam. It says, Sahaya sadhyam rajatvam, the kingship is actually possible when there is some help from the people. Okay. As if in a vehicle, the vehicle cannot run if there is only one tire, one chakra, one wheel. Okay. As there is a need of 2 or more wheels to run a vehicle, similarly, to run a kingship, a king must have many people to support him, to advise him, to suggest him. Because the role of mantri is not only to suggest during the time of when king calls them for a meeting, but their duty is also to ensure that king is not getting out of control. The king is not getting out of control, and king is following his dharma. So whenever king is going against the dharma, it is the duty of mantri to pull him back to the dharma. So that is also explained in Kautilya's Arthashastra. So Sahaya sadhyam rajatvam chakramekam na vartate kurvita sachivas tasmat. That's why a king must appoint the sachivas, the mantris, the ministers, and teshancha shrunuyan matam, must hear the advices and suggestions given by them. This is the meaning of this whole verse. So that is where the importance of Amatyas come. Now we'll go to the next Prakriti, that is Janapada. Janasya, so again, etymology plays a role here. What does Janapada means? So just the word Janapada means both the territory as well as the population. So Janasya lokasya padam ashraya sthanam. Janaha means loka, means people. The abode, the place where people live, that place is called Janapada. Or Janaha Padyante Gachanti, where people move, that place is also called Janapada. Janapadam, now these two etymologies are leading the word towards the meaning called territory. Okay, the place. The next etymology which we will be seeing will lead to the meaning called people. Janapadam. The Janapada word we have already derived. From that word Janapadam, the new word will be derived. Janapadam adharataya santi yesham te. The Janapada is a foundation for the type like those who have Janapada as their abode. Okay, they are called Janapadas. Janapada itself is a abode for those people. Those people are called Janapadas. So the Janapada means territory. Janapada also means the people who are living in that territory. Now, what type of villages are constructed during the time of Arthashastra? There are four types of headquarters which we can find explained in Kautilya's Arthashastra. One is provisional headquarters, which is called as Sthaniya, which is the big, like, we'll start with the left side of the slide. Okay, subquarters, Sangrahana. So that set of 10 villages, there is one office which constructed, that is called Sangrahana. When there is a collection of 10 villages, for 10 villages, it was called Sangrahana. For 200 villages, it was called Karvatika. Present day, we can call it as a district headquarter. Then for 400 villages, it was known as Dronamukha. In present day, we call it divisional headquarter. Then for 800 villages, they had a concept called Sthaniya, which is like provisional headquarters. So this is how the set of villages were done. But for villages also, there is a suggestion by Kautilya that in one land, in one village, there should be around 80 to 100 houses, not more than that. Till 500 something. Yeah, here it is. In territory, there must be minimum 100 and maximum 500 houses in one village. And between two villages, there must be distance between two villages must not be more than 2 kroshas. Okay, that's what krosha is, a type of measurement. And between two villages, Kautilya says that the trees must be grown like forest. See, you can see one of the picture which I have presented here. In this picture, in the frontiers of the village, you can see the trees are grown. So Kautilya suggests between two villages, there should be many trees grown. And there should be a gap between two villages where trees can be grown. Then boundaries must be fixed by planting. See, here it is written. The boundaries must be fixed by planting trees or by rivers and mountains. If there are, if already there is a mountain or river flowing, then it's okay. If there is no river or mountain, then boundaries must be fixed by planting the trees. These days, boundaries are even these days we can see the boundaries by planting trees and all. But it's very rare now. This is how a what do you say? The inside the fort, how a king's the city should look like. This structure is created based on the Arthashastra of Kautilya. Okay, at the center there should be royal residence. You can see here at the center there should be royal residence, and as these people are very much connected to the king, or like teaching or intellectual things, those should happen near to the residences. So the teachers, priests, counselors were placed here, and Brahmins were placed here. Vaishyas, because the important source of running a country is kosha. Kosha means finance or treasury. So for treasury is increased by the Vanijya. There were three sources of treasury. One treasury, economics, that's Krishi, Pashupalyam and Vanijyam. These were three main sources of what do you say, Varta or economics. So Vaishyas were bringing most of the money, so they were kept at the center of the royal, and they used to sell the products which were imported, or they were the people who were selling, so they were kept at the center of the city. So you can see other things. Kshatriyas were kept here, Shudras were given a place. So each and every Varna had their own place, and king was assuring that they do their duties and they don't cross their limit and enter into others' duties. Okay. Also, there was a planning for there was a place where liquor, musicians, courtesans were placed. There were a place where restaurants and entertainment areas were placed. One very beautiful thing, there in one of the chapter in Sita Dhyaksha, it is Sita Dhyaksha means the chapter on the superintendent of agriculture. There it is mentioned that superintendent of agriculture must assure that this drama company, dance company should not stay inside the city and disturb the agriculturists. They will be fined if they come into the city. They were never allowed into the city. They were kept outside the city and assured that they don't come regularly and disturb the people who are doing agriculture. Especially that part is mentioned in Kautilya's Arthashastra. Now, Janapada based on population, it says that it should be inhabited by industrious peasants who are capable of bearing the burden of taxes and punishments. It should contain intelligent set of people, must be predominantly populated by members of lower classes, and it should be loyal and devoted. So these are some aspects which are explained about Janapada. Now these are the etymologies for other prakritis, which we will be seeing later in detail, but I have kept all these here. Durga means Dukkhena Gamyate Yatra Tad Durgam. Durga means fort. Dukkhena Gamyate Yatra Tad Durgam, which is difficult to move. So there are different types of Durga, which I will show you later. So those are the Durgas which were constructed or which were naturally existed. Those were difficult to move. The enemy country were feeling it difficult to cross that fort. That's why it is called Durga. Okay. Kosha means pushyate, akrishyate ayasthanebhya, collected from the place of earnings is called kosha. Danda, imposing or punishing. Dandayati anena iti dandaha, imposing or punishing. Okay. Sena means sinoti shatrum, one which binds the enemies is called Sena. Okay. Siyate vyuhatmana, or binds the self in an array. Chakra vyuha, we call vyuha. Array means vyuha. Chakra vyuha, then Trishula vyuha, then Garuda vyuha. There are different types of vyuha explained in Mahabharata as well as Dhanurveda. A text called Dhanurveda, which is composed by Vasishtha and also Shiva. Some other texts are also available, but they are not that means it's believed that not that approachable, or what is right? I don't know the word which we can use. Not that authentic, but there are some books like Vasishtha's Dhanurveda which can be approached. Those are good books regarding this array, regarding the knowledge of archery, regarding the knowledge of ethics of war and all. We can approach this book. Then Mitra, Minoti, Manam Karoti, one who respects is called Mitra. Medyati, Snihyati, one who affectionate is also called Mitra. So these are the what do you say, the etymologies of the remaining 5 prakritis or elements of the state. Now we'll see again each one. Now in Arthashastra we find only 3 Durgas, 3 forts. But in other texts somewhere we find 4, somewhere we find 5 types of forts. In Arthashastra we say Audaka Durga, Parvata Durga and Dhanvana Durga. These are 3 types of forts. Audaka Durga is a Durga which is actually in the midst of the ocean, in the midst of a river or a lake. Or the fort is constructed and then all the sides it's filled with the water. That type of city is called, that type of fort is called Audaka Durga. In Udaipur, there is one lake palace. That's a type of Audaka Durga. In Udaipur, Rajasthan, we have example for Audaka Durga, that is lake palace, which is in the center of the one lake, which is called Fateh Samudra, lake's name. Then Parvata Durga is on the hill. It's on the hill. In most Maharashtra and Rajasthan, we can find these type of Durgas over the hill. Parvata Durga. Dhanvana Durga is like in a desert area, where from all sides you will find desert, and in the midst you will find a type of Durga. Then there is also called Manusha Durga, which is not explained in Arthashastra, but Manusha Durga is the Durga which is protected from all sides by the people, like the tribals, the appointed, salaried warriors. Those are appointed at the out frontiers of the state. So they were called as Manusha Durgas. So that is explained in Mahabharata. But in Kautilya's Arthashastra, we find only 3 types of Durgas. Now let's move into the important aspect, which is treasury and state economy, without which the whole state will not work. Kosha is the moola for danda and also mitra. Without kosha, even danda application of governing the statecraft is difficult. Also, without kosha, gaining the friends is also difficult. Allies, gaining the allies is also difficult. So the treasury plays a major role. Kautilya also says, there is one shloka. I will just show the shloka. Kosha purva sarvarambhaha. I'll go back there again. Arthashastra is one of the world's oldest treatises on the economic administration of a state using detailed financial planning. In the second chapter itself, it starts dealing with the financial aspects for the state. Not only that, after that, even when it moves to the foreign policies, there also it starts discussing about the financial aspects. How the foreign policies affect the state's finance, how it increases the economy. Those things are discussed even after the 6th chapter. The wealth of the state was the totality of the surplus stored in the king's treasury, the commodity warehouse, the granary, the store for forest produce, and ordnance depots. So these are the wealth of the state. Not only the money which is collected in the treasury of the king, but also the granary, because as I mentioned, the agriculture was one of the important source of economy, important source of Varta economy. So granary, there were granaries like king's treasury. Similarly, there were granaries where these type of grains and cereals were collected. And not only that, even forest produces like bamboo, stick, there are various type of trees, fruits, those type of collections were also there. And there was also the collection of what do you say, this. Not only that, there were mining system also for this, that is not mentioned here, but there were mining system from which the different types of gems, gold, silver, lead, these things were extracted and also processed. There are 3, as I mentioned earlier, there were 3 main types of economic activity: agriculture, cattle rearing, and trade have been recognized. These will generate resources in the form of grains, cattle, gold, forest produce, and labor. Using these, the king is supposed to build a treasury and an army. The healthy reserve in the treasury and a strong army are 2 pillars. Using these things I have already discussed, so I will just skip. So these are the head of the departments, which I was mentioning, that there are different types of amatyas. So these are those amatyas who are appointed at different places of different departments. So take some time and read this. You'll find out what are the different departments existed during the time of Chanakya. So if you have any doubt on this, you can ask me while reading.
Sir, what are crown lands?
Which one you are saying?
Sir, land use and livestock, the 4th one.
4th one, crown lands. Crown lands are the lands which are actually controlled by the state, government lands.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Like some lands are personal lands, some lands are used by government, where government appoint the farmers to cultivate. Those lands are crown lands. And there are lands where cultivation does not happen, but that lands are meant for herds, for animals to uh, hinder to eat their grass and all. So this was the one of the way through which the state used to earn the economy, to get the wealth, using the crown lands. Shall we go ahead?
Yes, sir, we can move on.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can proceed.
So importance of treasury as mentioned in Kautilya's Arthashastra. So I will read the verses. I will also give the meaning of these. Kosha purvaha sarvarambhaha tasmat purvam kosham aveksheta. All the beginnings, all the happenings happen because of kosha, because of the treasure. So the king must first focus on how to build a treasury. Okay. From where does this kosha come? So one source he is giving. Akara prabhava kosha. Akara means mines. So this kosha is built by the mines. The gold mine, the zinc mine, whatever mines. So using those mines, the kosha is built. Kosha dandaf prajayate. From kosha, the governance is done. Prithvi kosha dandabhyam prapyate kosha bhushana. And this whole land gets decorated with the kosha and danda, gets governed with the kosha and danda. That would be better word to use. Gets governed by the kosha and danda. And then he says, Alpa kosho hi raja paura janapadaneva grasate. In case if the treasury gets low, if there is no money in treasury, then the first thing what king does is he goes and consumes the people, consumes his own subjects. Now the present hot example which I can give is Pakistan. Now Pakistan's treasury is totally dried up. So to get the treasury back, they might be doing that. I have not seen the news after that, but the one sure thing what they will do, they will increase the taxes on the people. That's what a king can do to increase the treasury. Okay, so alpa kosho hi raja paura janapadaneva grasate. Pakvam pakvamivaramat phalam rajyadavapnuyat amachcheda bhayadamam varjayet kopakarakam. So as whenever we go to a garden, or not a garden, I'll say orchards, when we go to some orchards. So when we go to orchards to pluck a fruit, we pluck the fruit which is actually, what do you say, पका हुआ क्या बोलते हैं? What do you say पका हुआ in English?
Sir, ripe.
Yeah, ripe. The fruit which is ripen, that fruit we try to pluck instead of going with the raw fruit. Okay. Similarly, the king, pakvam ivaramat phalam rajya davapnuya. The king should get the fruit from the country which is actually ripened, not the thing which is still raw. Means let the people work and let the people come out with the products, profits, and such profit must be taken by from that profit a king should get the tax or fill his treasury. Otherwise, what happens? Amacheda bhayad amam varjayet. The king should avoid the raw thing. Why? See, yesterday we discussed that the indigested food is called ama. Okay, that ama leads to different types of problems related to intestine and maybe through intestine some other types of diseases. I spoke the diseases like typhoid and all. So similarly, if the king tries to pluck the raw fruit from the kingdom, then that will lead to the kopa of ama. Okay. Okay. Then nakshatram ati prichantam balam arthoti vartate artho hyarthasya nakshatram kim karishyanti tarakaha. Now thou Chanakya, it's not that Chanakya didn't believe in Jyotisha. Chanakya believed in Jyotisha, which from different parts of the text we can understand. But Chanakya specially warns the king, saying Nakshatram ati prichantam balam arthoti vartate artho hyarthasya nakshatram kim karishyanti taraka. The king should not be dependent upon the astrologer and astrology to fill the treasury. The king who asks about the stars, whether today's star is good, आज का मुहूर्त ठीक है क्या, आज मैं इस काम के लिए जा सकता हूं. Such things a king should never ask when it comes to the filling of the treasury, because according to Chanakya, artho hyarthasya nakshatram, wealth is the only nakshatra for wealth. There is no other nakshatra for wealth. If a businessman starts thinking that on this muhurta I will go and have the meeting, but every time it may not be possible. But if he starts doing that, he might lose a lot of money. So that's why the king says that artho hyarthasya Chanakya says artho hyarthasya nakshatram kim karishyanti tarakaha. So these are the different means of increasing the wealth. So the Sanskrit verse is given here. The translation of that is given here. And now I would like your contribution here in this. I want examples for each of these. Okay, examples from present day or relevant examples which you can give. So these are the means of increasing health by ensuring the prosperity of state activities and enterprises. Can somebody give the example for this? You can type or you can unmute yourself and speak. This is about increasing the wealth in the treasury. Okay, so I think I got first one. Investing in take this first one. Ensuring the prosperity of state activities or enterprises. Okay, that is investing. Okay, in infrastructure. When the state is prosperous, individuals, that's fine. Startup India, good. Yes.
So Government of India has stopped pension for today's employees.
Government of India?
It has stopped pension.
Pension, okay. So is that something which ensuring the prosperity of state activities and enterprises through which we are getting the wealth? Feeding people. No, I am speaking about how to increase the wealth. Make in India. Yes, Make in India is one of such. Motivating and guiding the small business. Yeah. Controlling cost. That will come. Controlling cost will come later. This is about first point. We are thinking about what is MSME?
That is for these enterprises, medium and small. Because near our university, I have seen one of these. They promote these small entrepreneurs.
It's micro, medium, and small enterprises.
Something. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, lot many answers we got. Now we'll go to second one. Continuing well-tried policies. See, now there are many policies. For example, just one example. I think you people. I will take examples from you. Can we get some examples which uh, any country or any government which has continued the well-tried policies which were successful? Earlier it was tried by one government, and the present government is continuing that policy. Yeah, disinvestment. Okay. Social welfare scheme also exists here. Maybe with some small small changes also it's acceptable. Any? Spreading Indian knowledge through NEP. But then did the previous government had it? I don't think previous government had this spreading Indian knowledge through NEP was there. Agniveer for some year only. I'm asking some initiatives which, yes, Manarega, yes, that is one. I also was thinking about that. Manarega was there. Then there is one Niti Ayog, which was there, and just the name was changed, still it is there. Okay, we'll go with next one now. Eliminating theft. Eliminating theft is, oh sorry. Yeah. Eliminating theft means something which yes, police stations. Theft is not only like that, theft is like stopping bribery also, huh? Decentralizing the government and strengthening local administration, yes. Demonetizing was the one of the attempt for eliminating the theft. Now, for eliminating theft, the government has come up with the all digital payment and all are one of various ways of eliminating the thefts. Giving industries license in special economic zones. Where does it come, Anuradha ji? Giving industries license in special economic zones means?
No, that has not been written by me. I wrote GST.
Okay.
GST. I
yes.
think so.
Yeah.
And one thing is that government is paying directly into the account of people.
Correct. So that is
Initially, there
also,
used to
yes.
be so many intermediaries.
Correct.
Now it is going directly to the beneficiaries.
True. Yes. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Keeping strict control over government employees. Is it there? Earlier it was there during the time of Kautilya. Whether it is there now? Are we following keeping strict control over government employees? One example which I heard when
RTI.
yes?
RTI maybe. Right to information.
Can you please repeat? I could not hear you.
Right to information. RTI, we can lodge, we can ask for information.
Yes, that can be one. Yes. And also I saw one, yeah, biometric is another thing. But is it followed in government institutions? Government?
In some states it is there. In
Okay.
colleges of Odisha, they have. Yes, I know. But not in all the institutes.
Yeah, not in all. That's what I was thinking. In private, I have seen. Also, when this Modi government came, suddenly I heard the news that people started coming 8 o'clock to the offices. Is it true? I heard that news. It was there.
No, not everywhere. Not everywhere.
Yes,
Now
but
it may not there.
in many places
The
in
office
Gujarat.
timings were changed.
Ha,
They were
ha.
preponed by half an hour in the morning and in the evening both.
Okay. Anyway, okay, fine, good examples. Then increasing agriculture. So I will just move on. We have taken some good examples, but time is also running. So increasing agriculture production, promoting trade, avoiding troubles and calamities, reducing exemptions and remissions, increasing cash income. So these are the different ways in which the Kautilya actually suggests that these can be the ways of increasing the wealth in the treasury. Okay, so we'll move to the next slide. State income is classified under 7 heads: city, country, mines, in irrigation works, forests, cattle herds, and trade routes. These were the 7 heads under which the state income was classified. Okay. Then expenditure incurred includes those pertaining to the palace, armory, armed forces, and so on. So while writing this account books, there was a rule that it is written in Kautilya's Arthashastra that even the money spent by the Yuvarajas and Ranis must also be mentioned in the book. The queens, whatever they used to spend, they used to give the report to the accountant that this much money we have spent. So there was a salary meant for these people also. Yuvaraja, there was a salary. Queen, there was a salary. So for each of these, though they were related to the king, but they had a type of salary spent on them. In governments, when this regulations were done, they were also given salaries. Yeah. These are and the sources of income: Mulya, Bhaga, Vyaji, Parigha, Klupta, Rupika, and Atyaya. Like Mulya means price realized by the sale of state goods, share of goods produced by the subjects, a tax imposed on all sales like GST and all, a kind of protective duty of safeguarding state goods, fixed levy charges at ports on river banks, a surcharge on manufacturers, penalties. These were the various sources of income during the time of Arthashastra. These are the taxes. I will just skip. These were different types of taxes. Okay. Now we'll move into Danda. Danda means soldiers, army. So soldiers should be valiant. These are some qualities which are mentioned in Kautilya's Arthashastra, which say a soldier should be valiant, well versed in the art of war, loyal to the king, strong, obedient. The king must recruit them on permanent basis. There should be a there should be a team of soldiers which should be appointed in a permanent basis, and king must take care of the maintenance of their families, maintenance of families. Yeah, so families of the soldiers. There are 7 categories in the army. One is, which I have already explained, that permanently recruited by the state. Then whenever their war used to happen, they used to bring some more, because when king used to go for war, then the king used to assure that no weak point is left out. So from he used to have a big team of soldiers. For that, not only the soldiers who are appointed permanently, but also the rented soldiers. Some soldiers, Bhrutaka or Bhruta, means the soldiers who were paid only for this war. They were paid and bought for this war. Then there is another team of soldiers called Shreni, a well-organized group of soldiers trained in art of war. They were brought. They were only meant for war. But this Maula, permanently recruited by the state, were not only for war, but also to protect the state in all times. Okay, but these are meant only for war. Mitra, soldiers of friendly kings. So when you might have heard about this Kurukshetra war between Pandavas and Kauravas. So Kauravas, their team might have been very less, but they got the help from the friendly kings. That's why their team became of 11 Akshohini Sena. Okay. Then we have Amitra, soldiers of the hostile kings or of conquered countries and recruited like slaves. Atavi, tribal soldiers. Outsahika, living in different countries without any leader and invaders. Their only target is go and fight. They don't want any payment, but they want to fight. So they keep traveling. They go to different countries. They say, we want to fight. We will fight from your side. This time they might fight from this side. Another time they might fight from other side too. So their only goal is to fight war. So they are called as Outsahika Sena. What is this peacekeeping force? You are saying Outsahika Sena? Surendra?
Sometimes, yes, sometimes different governments like from India, soldiers went to Sri Lanka and also to different countries under UNO.
No, but these, the Outsahika, they are not under any country.
Okay.
They keep traveling.
Okay.
Their goal is only to travel and find out the country which is fighting. From their side, they will fight. That's all.
Okay.
Now in Danda, there is also a concept called law and order. So for this is how it looks like. There will be under king, there are conflicts between two parties happen, a chancellor, then a panel of 3 judges will be there. In crime, there will be chancellor as well as city superintendent. There will be a panel of 3 magistrates, and king will be on the higher level. Then in each, when in the panel of 3 magistrates, you will find in all these 4 places, the panel of 3 magistrates you will find. We discussed Sangrahana, Sthaniya and all. In those, all these, every place, 3 judges will be appointed, and those 3 judges, based on the dharma, vyavahara, charitra and rajashasana, they will give the judgment. If there is a conflict between 2 parties, keeping these in mind, dharma, vyavahara means the transaction which happened earlier, then charitra on the cases, earlier cases, case books and all, then rajashasana as per the penal code, the judges give their judgment. Okay, so this is one, and this is for crimes and all, provisional headquarters and all this. This is a structure which is given by Kautilya's Arthashastra during, and this was followed during the time of Kautilya and even later. So this I will skip. Now we will move into basic principles of foreign policy. What is the time? Hope I am. Yeah, we have time. Basic principles of foreign policy. So the guiding principles which govern the kind of Kautilyan theory of foreign policy are: a king should develop his state, increase his resources and power in order to enable him to embark on a campaign of conquest. The enemy, according to Chanakya, the enemy shall be eliminated. He should not be kept alive. He should kill the enemy, because there's a possibility that enemy can grow back and come and attack again and kill the king. Those who help are called as friends. Peace is to be preferred to war. Though he says, though earlier he said the enemy shall be eliminated, but his main, if you read whole of the Arthashastra, the one can understand that Chanakya prefers peace over war, because according to him, the war will destroy everything. If not everything, lot of things will be destroyed. So instead of destruction, it's always good to build. So that's what is the theory which is presented by Kautilya. So Mitra Kautilya has provided interesting details regarding foreign policy by conceptualizing the dynamics of the relations between neighboring countries and relative strengths, weakness. We'll see that. Especially book 7, 11, and 12 describes various aspects of foreign policy. However, the guiding principles are laid in chapter 2 of book 6. Okay. Now, these are the 6 methods of foreign policy. This is called as Shadgunya in Sanskritam. Shadgunya. 6 gunas, Shadgunya. Sandhi, making a treaty containing conditions or terms. So, like, what examples can we give for this making treaty? Any example? In recent days, is there any country which did which had a policy of peace with some other country? I am asking the question, so I would like the replies from you. Any country which did peace with another country? No answer. I don't have answer, so I was asking you if I can get any. No, I am asking the question. My question is, did any country did go for peace with some other country? Russia and Ukraine war, still there is no peace, I guess. It's war is still going on. Ukraine didn't go for peace with Russia, or Russia didn't go for peace with Ukraine. Nepal, with which country did they go for peace? America is trying, but that's not happening. Yeah, Nepal
Sir,
did peace.
Israel and Middle East countries, sir, they signed a treaty, the Abraham Accord, for maintain peace with Muslim countries and Israel. They are earlier much more conflictual. They are tussle between these two countries, but right now they are signing a agreement that is known as Abraham Accord. I think this will be
good. This is a good example. Hope so. It happens. Russia and Ukraine go for Sandhi. Then there comes Vigraha, where where they prepare for war, okay, or get hostility. So this is actually going on now. Between Russia is actually going as a Vigraha for Ukraine. Then Asana, not planning to march on an expedition, keeping quiet, policy of remaining quiet. Let them do what they want to do. Now presently we are in that state. We are not going for war. Our policy is to remain quiet. Then Yana, marching on an expedition. The country going for war. Okay, that is called Yana. So China, for which China is the example, Rajivji?
Yana, yes.
Yana, yes.
Expansion,
Yana.
yes.
Against which country it is going for marching for war?
Planning against Taiwan, against India, and not yet.
They're planning, not yet marching. I am saying about marching. They left for war. Going for war. That's called Yana. Okay. Samshraya means seeking shelter with another king or in a fort. Like some weak countries, they cannot directly go for war, and some other country is trying to attack that country. So that country is taking shelter with some other powerful country. Can we get the example for this? Tibet came to India. Yes, that's one example where Tibet is trying to take shelter. What is Quad? Shivapalanji gives some abbreviations which I cannot. What is Quad?
I don't think Quad will be good.
Yes, I cannot hear you.
No, I think Quad will not be a good example. That is combination of 4 countries: Australia, USA, India, and I think Brazil.
I mean, Nepal we
That
can
is
take, but Nepal is taking
yes.
shelter of which country? Shelter means Nepal should not go and sit in India. It means it's taking support of India so that something should not happen. Is it taking now? Is it still? Earlier it was there. Earlier Nepal was taking shelter of India, taking the support of India. Now, as I heard, it has taken the shelter of China. Something it was trying to do that. Is it true?
Okay.
No. Okay. Dvaidibhava is like Sandhi with one king for attacking another king, taking the help of one country to attack another country is called Sandhi. Like actually, Pakistan is planning that. Pakistan is taking the help of
Yes, China.
China to attack India. That is, for that we have very good answer, Dvaidibhava. Okay. So these are the 6 methods of foreign policy. India may not be trying all, but India is still working on. India has done many peace, many sandhis with different countries. Not direct sandhi, but Prime Minister Narendra Modi went to different countries, spoke to their ministers, their presidents, their kings, and brought them under his confidence. So those things he did. Then he also went for war, just as though not a big war, but still some what do you say? Some small attacks on Pakistan to scare them. See, these policies, because of these policies, in various stages. Now, earlier the fighting was like war. Now it is intellectual war. Financial war is happening now. Earlier the war was like going for physical wars. Now it's not physical war, it's a mental war is happening. So in mental war also, these things can be considered. Okay, going for sandhi, making peace with some countries to financially attack another country, to make another country financially weak. So these all things we can say which India is doing now to protect India from being attacked, also to make the enemy country weak who is planning to attack. Okay. So 4 means of overcoming opposition, which we have already discussed: Sama, Dana, Danda, Bheda. The first 2, Sama is consolation, Dana means giving gifts, and Bheda means actually dividing, sowing dissensions, dividing and ruling. Danda means using the force, army. The first 2 could be deployed to subjugate weak kings. When the kings are weak compared to all these things which we are seeing, the 6 methods, 6 foreign policies, these 6 foreign policies or these 4 means of overcoming opposition, everything is not only for a king or a state. This can be used in a corporate world also, for any institution also, which are actually competing with each other. If a builder is competing with another builder, there are many builders now. So they can have sandhi, vigraha, asana, yana, samshraya, dvaidibhava, everything they can have to increase their treasury, to increase their wealth, to increase their power. Similarly, Sama, Dana, Danda, Bheda can also be used. So Sama and Dana, these are used for somebody who is weak compared to one party. If party number 1 is stronger than party number 2, then party number 1 will go for Sama and Dana to bring that party number 2 under control. But if there is a party number 3, then party number 3 is stronger than party number 1, then party number 1 will go for Bheda or Danda against the party number 3. Hope you understood this. So that is the Sanskrit verse says that Samadanabhyam durbalan upanamayet Bheda Dandabhyam balavataha. Now, when should these 6 foreign policies should be applied? Each and every policy we'll see. Parasmad hiyamanaha sandadhita. When a country feels, or when a company feels that we are losing from another country or another company, then at that situation, one must go for sandhana or peace. Abhyuchiyamanaha vigrinhiyat. When one understands, no, now I am powerful, then he must go for war. Namam paro naham param upahantum shaktaha. Nobody can affect me. I cannot affect anybody. I cannot harm anybody, and other cannot harm me. When this mindset is there, then the country or a company should keep quiet, keep peaceful. Means should, as I mentioned earlier, it should remain quiet. Okay. Gunatishaya yuktaha yayat. When you have full power, you must march for a war. Shaktihinaha samshrayet. When there is no power, powerless, weak, then become the refugee of any other country. Saha, or take the help of any other company which is powerful. Get merged into another company. So that's how we can see the meaning of this Shaktihina samshrayet. Sahaya sadhye karye dvaidhi bhavang gache. When there's a possibility that we can grow with the help of other, then go for dvaidhi bhava. Take the help of other, grow. Merge, not merging type thing, like collaborating thing. Collaborate with others and grow. These are the 6 policies which can be used. When one should go for war? So the Kautilya gives this line. When a king feels that I can develop the fort, the irrigation facility, the jobs, I can create jobs, I can create trade paths, I can use the areas which are not used, I can have mines. So when these type of profits the king sees, then only he should go for war. Otherwise, he should not. That's what is suggested by Kautilya. So I will skip this part. Now, relevance and all we have already seen. So I will also skip these things. In Mahabharata, now we have seen Ramayana. Now we will see Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, there are 18 parvas. Okay, you can call it 18 books, like Adi Parva, Sabha Parva, Udyoga Parva. There are 18 parvas. One such parva is Shanti Parva. In Shanti Parva, actually at that time, the Bhishma is lying on the bed of arrows. At that time, Yudhishthira goes to Bhishma. Krishna suggests him to go to Bhishma and asks for his advice on governance and public administration. This is the time when Bhishma guides Yudhishthira. Okay. There's a detailed conversation between the two, which is fully captured in Shanti Parva of Mahabharata in about 120 chapters. That is chapter 55 to chapter 173. What are the issues discussed here? Origin and purpose of the state, the rule of law, the institution of kingship, the duties and powers of the Raja, topics such as taxation and the way to collect the taxes, strategies for battle, and method of selecting ministers and councillors. So these are the topics which are discussed in Mahabharata Shanti Parva. In Ramayana, I have mentioned this, so I will skip this. Public administration in Ramayana, this also I have mentioned, that there is a mention of importance of wise counseling, justice of punishment, importance of secrecy, urban development and citizen welfare. So with this, public administration and governance chapter is over. There are a lot of things which we can discuss or which we can study when we read the books and like Mahabharata, Ramayana, and some Smritis, also the text like Kautilya's Arthashastra, which really helps us in understanding the public administration and governance which was there during the time of Kautilya. Not only that, how we can use those in present, not only in administrating the government, but also administrating the companies which we are heading, or the institutions which we are leading. So any leader who wants to take guidance for governing or leading the company or anything, they can use these sources, not only these texts, but also Panchatantra and Hitopadesha, and they can use this and apply it and get good results. So if we teach these subjects to our students, maybe we may not be able to apply, but in our courses, if we can integrate this and teach our students, they may take it, because they are the ones who will be leading some, who will be the entrepreneurs, who will be leading some companies, who will be CEOs in future. When they use these concepts, Indian concepts, then whatever we are teaching will be fruitful. If we are taking something which is westernized and we are taking and teaching it, we are not giving which is our own. So let us try to give our own thing to our students, and using that, let the students grow and develop. So that's what our goal of bringing Indian knowledge system into practice is. Yeah, Kautilya's Arthashastra, many concepts are still relevant to this society. Only the thing is, we have to read it and understand it. Only what we are doing, we are reading the texts. The Sanskrit people are reading the texts. We are not the commerce experts. We are not management experts. So we don't know how to apply it. The management experts are not reading these texts. So they are unable to apply it. So what our suggestion is, management experts, commerce experts, politicians, they should read these texts and they should pass it on to next generation. The job of the teacher, job of we all is to pass this knowledge to our students. You can do it much better than we do. We are IKS scholars, or we are scholars of our disciplines, and somewhere we can bring this thoughts saying that, yeah, this thought is there in Arthashastra. But how to apply it, only you people can teach your students. So if you can bring these concepts into your, you need not bring into your syllabus. You need not show it in your syllabus. But when such concepts comes, if you can teach the students that this is the one substitute which you can use instead of going for Western thoughts, you can use Indian thought and work on it. See how difference you can see, that you can show. Maybe some will use it, and again our Indian thoughts will come into practice. Okay, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. 2 days
Thank you.
I was speaking and you are patiently listening me, and I would really like to extend my thanks to Shikhaji as well as organizing committee.
Thank you so much, sir.
Shikhaji, who was at least she was hearing, and her face was giving me, whenever she when we see the faces, it motivates us.
Yes.
So I had two motivating faces and some motivating questions from the participants who are patiently listening me. Thank you to everybody, and thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I really don't know whom to thank enough. I think to begin with, we all can thank NEP because NEP has brought the Indian knowledge system into our curriculum. And I think that's how, it's an opportunity for us to, the amalgamation that you were talking about, management with the Indian knowledge system that we're talking about, that whole combination that is required. I think to begin with, we can complement NEP first. And then, of course, I really don't know what to call you an expert of. Since yesterday, I felt you were an expert in health, wellness, And today, I mean, your in-depth knowledge of public administration and governance, really hats off to you, sir, for this vast knowledge that you have. Really, thanking is not enough. I would formally invite our co-convener of the STP, Dr. Deepika Bansal, to please share a formal vote of thanks, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. On the behalf of the entire STP team, I extend my heartfelt thank to you that you took your precious time out for giving such an enriched session, which has benefited all of us. Your research in this area, your passion for the subject is actually really evident. You actually took us to the time like what our grandparents used to tell us.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for sharing your vast repository of knowledge. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So thank you all the participants for your patient presence. So we'll be taking it forward. We'll taking forward the session tomorrow, again at 2:30 p.m. I request again, if you haven't filled up the attendance so far, please mark your attendance for the second session as well. Thank you so much.
Pranam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.